Hello, in this video I'm going to share with you what could happen in the Labour government budget on the 30th of October, the impact on you and your property investing. It might be all doom and gloom, but actually I think there's a huge opportunity. And in this video, I'm going to share the 2 specific opportunities you should look out for. I'm also going to share the 3 big changes I think that could happen in this budget that you definitely want to look out for that's going to have a huge impact on UK property investing. So what do I know? Well, my name is Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller with over 100,000 copies in circulation. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network with 50 meetings every month all around the UK. It's the largest network of property investors, and I've been helping people like you for over 2 decades to become more successful investors. I noticed a lot of people who are very new to property coming out and commenting on what's going to happen, so there's about time I bring out a video what I think is going to happen in this budget. Now, the reality is nobody actually knows. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to release a video the day after the budget explaining exactly what has happened and what the impact is and what you need to do about it. So that's a really good reason you want to subscribe to this channel to make sure you get these videos and hit the bell icon to make sure you're notified whenever this timely video comes out. And of course, if you like the video, please like it, come and comment below. I'd love to hear what you think is going to happen in this budget. So let me tell you what I think is going to happen. Then I'm going to share those 2 things you can do specifically, opportunities you should look out for. Now, no one knows what Rachel Reeves is going to do. There's a lot of focus. This is the first Labour government budget, and I think there are going to be some big changes. They've said they don't want to increase taxes, but at the same time, they've said they need to do something, and people who've got the broadest shoulders are going to take the burden of the changes. This suggests to me they're going to try and target wealthy people, and property investors, by the way, fit into that category. So there are 3 changes I think that will probably going to happen. The first one is this. Currently, there is a tax relief called Business Assets Disposal Relief. It used to be called Entrepreneurs Relief, where you sell a business. Currently, right now, the first £1 million of profit, you only pay 10% capital gains tax instead of the normal 20% when selling shares. So that's £100,000 saving if you're selling a business. Now, I believe the Labour government will get rid of that, which is not exactly supporting small businesses. It's not exactly creating this environment where business owners want to grow the economy, which is what Keir Starmer wants to do, by the way. Now, I think it's only fair to say, by the way, this is not just something the Labour government are doing. A couple of years ago, the Conservative government decided to change Entrepreneurs Relief from £10 million down to £1 million. So in other words, you could sell a business and the first £10 million, you'd only pay 10% tax. When they removed that, it meant anyone selling a business instantly was going to pay an extra £1 million of tax. And by the way, I was selling a business for more than that, so it cost me an extra £1 million. This is why I'm a little bit bitter and twisted about that policy that was actually a Conservative policy. And surely Conservatives are supposed to be supporting us as entrepreneurs and business owners. I wouldn't be surprised if the Labour government get rid of that completely. Now, what's that going to mean? Well, I think that was one of the few remaining incentives for successful business owners to be here located in the UK. I think a lot of serious, successful business people who are building business they want to sell are going to consider maybe it's worth leaving the UK and relocating to somewhere that's more tax advantageous, maybe somewhere like Dubai or Singapore that have very favourable rules for businesses. So I think that's something we should definitely keep an eye on. Now, what does that mean? Well, if those business owners decide to sell, they might have business premises they decide to sell. When they relocate, they might also be successful people who've invested some of their business profit into residential properties. They might want to get some of their residential properties. So they might want to sell some of those properties. So that could be an opportunity. But I'll come to the specific opportunities in a moment. The second thing I think the Labour government will do is I think they're going to look at inheritance tax. Now, inheritance tax is a tax we pay when we die based on our net assets. So you look at all your total assets take off any liabilities such as mortgages and loans, and then the net assets left over, they get taxed at 40%. Now, right now, there's a personal relief of £325,000. So the first 325 you don't get taxed on. If you're in a partnership, you get double that allowance. However, that is a tax, you could say, on wealthy people. Poor people, they don't have lots of money to leave to their families, unfortunately, but wealthy people who've invested well and bought properties and built businesses, they can have substantial assets to pass on to their family. That is an easy target for the Labour government to tax. So I wouldn't be surprised if they change the personal allowance, or maybe they change the percentage of actual tax you get taxed on. So what can you do about that? Well, at the moment, if you decide to get rid of some of your assets before you die, you can give away as much as you possibly want. And if you live 7 years, there's no tax to pay. If you die within 7 years, there's a tapering scale. So they might adjust that. But if they don't adjust that, my recommendation, if you are a wealthy person or if you have wealthy parents or relatives, you might want to think about disposing some of those assets long before the point of death. That's something you should do. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you look at the top 1,000 rich people in the UK, the Queen Mother were always in there, but you saw them dropping down over a period of time. That's because they started to give some of their assets away well before they die. So it's something that rich people do. It's something that everyone should do. Protect your wealth. Give it away long before you have to pay the tax. The next and third, and probably one of the biggest things that people are talking about, probably one of the taxes that the Labour government might introduce to tax the people who can bear the weight of that tax, is I wouldn't be surprised if they made a change to capital gains tax. So capital gains tax is a tax we pay when we sell an asset. Now, a few years ago, the Conservative government already differentiated between property and other assets. Other assets, typically it's 20% when you sell shares, 10% obviously with that entrepreneurs relief or business asset disposal relief, which the Labour government might get rid of. But then when it comes to property, if you are a lower rate taxpayer, you pay 18% capital gains tax on property. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you currently pay 24% capital gains tax. There's been lots of talk about the Labour government bringing capital gains tax in line with income tax, which would mean a lower rate taxpayer would pay 20%, a higher rate taxpayer would pay 40%, or even the top tax rate of 45%. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they do that, and bringing the capital gains tax in line with inheritance tax of 40% seems a logical thing for them to do. This would only be taxing wealthier people, which again is the people with these broader shoulders. We are expected to take the burden of the tax liability in the UK. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that at all. Now remember, these are just my thoughts, my views. I've been investing a very long time. I've seen many, many budgets where people are worried about what happens. Ultimately, we have to wait to see what happens. And the day after the budget, I'm going to be doing a detailed analysis of all of the changes that impact you as a business owner or a property investor, and also what I think you can actually do about it. So look out for that. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the bell icon so that whenever these timely videos come out, you're the first to be notified. And also I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Come and comment below. Now, what are the two areas that I think this is going to give you an opportunity to think about? Well, I already mentioned we've got business owners might be selling commercial properties. They might be selling some of their investment properties. So definitely looking for commercial property as an opportunity. But the other opportunity is landlords. Since the Conservative government in 2015 announced they were going to change the way they tax us as property investors with the introduction of Section 24, which actually came in April 2017, phased over 4 years, we've seen an increasing number of landlords looking to retire early. Now, in any industry, you always see some people coming into the industry, starting investing. You always see some people exiting the industry and retiring. But we've seen more and more landlords retiring over the last 7 or so years. And I think if there are major changes in this budget, this is going to be the final straw for many of those landlords to say, you know what, I'm going to sell up my portfolio. Now, something you have to understand I've not mentioned yet is timing. It depends if the Labour government bring these changes in the budget we're going to see on the 30th of October, they might say, right, some of these changes come in with immediate effect, but they might say some of them come in with the start of the new tax year in April 2025. Now, when it comes to things like inheritance tax, that might be what they do. But if it comes down to changes to capital gains tax, I very much doubt they're going to wait till April 2025. Let me explain why. Imagine you're a landlord and you're fed up with property, you think, I'm going to sell, and then suddenly the Labour government say, well, if you sell after April 2025, instead of paying 24% as a higher rate taxpayer now, you're going to pay 40 or maybe even 45%. I imagine that lots of landlords will go, you know, that's it, enough is enough, I'm going to sell lots of my property, I'm going to put it on the market. And let's say a couple of 100,000 landlords do that. Bear in mind there are 2 million landlords in the UK. Let's say just 10% and say, you know what, enough is enough, I'm going to sell up. Now, some landlords have just one property, some landlords have 50 properties. Let's say the average is 4 or 5 properties per landlord. That could be close to 1 million properties suddenly coming on the market for sale with landlords trying to sell them before April 2025. Some of those landlords who've bought the properties many, many years ago and have had significant capital growth might be prepared to sell them at a bit of a discount off the true market value, which is great if we're buying, by the way, but they might want to do that. That would absolutely crash the property market. Now, the UK economy is based on retail and also property and construction. We saw during the COVID crisis, because retail was decimated, the government at the time, the Conservatives, did everything they could to prop up the property market. And to be fair, they did a really good job, and that's why we saw a booming property market. So the Labour government are not going to want to see a property market crash. Yes, that might bring prices down to make them more affordable for buyers, which might be a popular thing with people buying. But if people go into negative equity, if banks start repossessing properties, it can be a complete carnage, a problem I think it would take a very long time for the UK economy to recover from. So I cannot see them wanting to do that. So I think if they make changes to capital gains tax, it's going to come in immediately, or maybe they might say, if you've exchanged property, you've got a month to complete maybe. That's my prediction of what's going to happen. We're going to see, because the day after the budget, I'm going to release a detailed video explaining exactly what has happened and what the impact's going to be and what you should do about it. So as I said earlier, make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified as soon as that video comes out. So to summarize this video, no one knows exactly what's going to happen, but I think there are going to be changes to business asset disposal relief. I think there will be changes to inheritance tax and also to capital gains tax, which is going to have a huge impact on us as property investors. There are going to be 2 opportunities: commercial property, which is a bit weak at the moment anyway. There are going to be opportunities there, and also an opportunity for you to go and find some of those landlords for whom this is the final straw and they want to sell properties. A great opportunity for you. Now, if you're going to be acquiring property, you need to know how to find great deals. But the other thing is, you need to have money to fund those deals. If you're in a cash position now, you are in a very strong position. The problem is most people run out of their own money at some point. So what I suggest you start doing now is raising finance. You need to get funds ready to move quickly. So I am doing some training, some online training right now to teach you how to raise money to grow your property portfolio. To get access to that training, just click on the link below. It's completely free of charge. Come and do it right now though, because you don't want to miss this timely training I'm going to give you about how to raise and use other people's money for your property investing. No longer should you be thinking, I can't do that deal because I don't have the funds available. The reality is there are lots of people who've got money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them, and as long as they know you know what you're doing and you're finding good, profitable property deals, you can afford to pay them much more than they can make in the bank. And that's the fundamental essence behind this. You can help other people make money, which is why they want to lend money to you. The thought of lending or borrowing money from other people can be a very nerve-wracking thing, but I'm going to teach you on this training how you don't have to actually ask people for money. Instead, they come to you with money available to lend for your property investing. So click on the link below. You cannot afford to miss this game changer training that could completely transform your property investing. And guess what? The training is completely free of charge, but you do have to take action now. Click on the link, come and register, and I'll share with you online how you can use other people's money to grow your property portfolio. So I do hope this has been an educational video for you. Please like the video, come and comment below. What do you think is going to happen in the budget? Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified when that timely video comes out, and look out for the video on the 31st of October, all about exactly what has happened in the budget and what you need to do about it. My name's Simon Zutshi, invest with knowledge, invest with skill.